Welcome to Huntington Beach, California. It is Saturday. We're at TYR SoCal. We got event 4 coming up for you in less than 10 minutes. But we're gonna work our way out to the Dymatize beach stage by taking you on a little bit of a tour and giving you a look at the behind the scenes of the footprint of the entire layout for TYR SoCal 2024. Huntington Beach Pier, straight ahead of us there. You can see the pier stage in the distance and the main entrance to the grounds. So we're gonna walk through as we make our way down towards the beach stage to watch athletes for the TYR Cup get underway on day number 2. Awesome decal here on the ground as you enter the first part of Vendor Village, box office, help desk here. And we got some brands outside that give a really cool opportunity to interact, not just with people who are here for the competition this weekend, but also just locals that are walking around. Yesterday we watched some sand sculpture experts set up this pretty sweet rain body fuel display. Competition regulars, Paper Street Coffee hanging out here, serving the people of Huntington Beach, California. The Hair Strong girls down from Canada. And maybe you guys have seen some content coming from the experience stage that Loud and Live and TYR Wadapalooza have had a variety of different guests and will continue to throughout the weekend. Some of those will be streamed as audio podcasts later on, but also some of the local people will just stop by and fill up the stands there, ask questions, and learn about our community, our sport. We'll make our way down the stage here, or down the stairs here, towards the secondary part of the Vendor Village experience. Rain VIP tent standing tall in the middle of the grounds out there. We're gonna eventually make our way past that. If you guys were not with us last night, we had full coverage of the TYR Cup night number 1 as it got underway. And we'll have action coming to you later this afternoon as well. But for the mornings on Saturday and Sunday, the athletes are gonna be competing on the beach stage, and we're gonna do a little different version of the broadcast for that, POV style, so you guys can still see the action that's going on. We'll get to the workouts and the athletes in a little bit, but here we are now entering kind of the main Vendor Village area. Obviously the title sponsor, TYR, having the awesome display here. Off to the left is that Rain VIP area that I was talking about. And we're gonna head on through Vendor Village to the right side. Yeti, always with the cool displays at the big competitions. Similar theme to what they had at the games this year. And big supporter of the athletes and the competitions in this sport of fitness. As we head down one of the main alleyways here, you'll see Plunge, you'll see US Army Warrior Fitness. Off to the left, we got the Assault Fitness booth there. Beach volleyball in the middle. That's Danny Spiegel out there playing some beach volleyball on a cool morning here in Huntington Beach with some fans. See if you guys a perspective of this pretty cool area they have set up. So these vendors all have this area, this beach area circled in. We got Reps Ahead booth here. Get a chance to see Reps Ahead on the big stage tonight. There's Phil, creator of that at Renovo, big partner of theirs to help make that possible, partnering up with TYR Wadapalooza SoCal this year to bring you guys a different style of competition. Sean Woodland, myself, Bella Martin, and Patrick Clark will be on the call later tonight for that one. Dymatize, one of the big partners this year as well, and we're gonna be heading to the Dymatize beach stage, where 5 minutes from now, event number 4 of the TYR Cup is gonna get underway. As always, we got a huge contingency of well-established media, out here for the event. And we're gonna see if I can make our way onto the floor where the athletes are gonna be set to take on event number 4 a few minutes from now. Pacific Ocean, obviously out this way. When they get to the running portion of the event, we'll be heading out the gate behind them. But we're gonna start inside on the Dymatize stage. And we'll take a look at what is on tap for the athletes this morning. So they got a long one. Each of them are gonna do 3,000 meters on a rower. 60 burpees over the worms. Nice. It is actually talking with some of the athletes this morning. They were really happy about the temperature as they have to take on this long test this morning. Interesting always is the score. We have 1 point up for grabs this morning. And to get that point, you have to have the best cumulative time from all 6 athletes who are taking on. So the men of the competition. The women on their team will be next to them, which is going to be kind of a little cat and mouse when you see the full layout here. So you got alone, the 3 women for North America on event 4, and then we have the world. We got Gracie Walton, Sahar Kaya, and she's lurking over there. And for the men, Anjola Kai, Jorgen Carl Gudmundsson, and Brent Fikowski. Mentioned that it's kind of a cat and mouse affair because the men are, for the most part, if they're all in the correct lanes, and Tia is a little bit out of place compared to the rest of them, but the men are on the opposite ends of the competition floor, which means that you can't kind of do that, look over and see how your opponent is doing, as we often see top competitors in the sport do. I will, in particular, be curious about how they approach the row here, because there's obviously a lot of work still to come, but it's as good as athletes on the team. My likes well too, but what to people know more about. Tia's the man.
Whole bunch of cardio here this morning.
So from right to left for the world to be Brent Fikowski, Tia Claire Toomey, Bjorgen Carl Gudmundsson,
athletes and
Anjola Kai, Sahar Kaya, and Grace Walton. 1 minute to the start. Judges are setting the rowers. Daniel, bit of an X factor in this workout for his team, I think. We'll get to some details about these athletes later on. Vellner and Jeff Adler will be out here on the far side of the floor.
30 seconds.
30 seconds to the start.
Seconds.
10 seconds.
Stand by.
4, 3, 2, 1. And the athletes are off.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to day 2.
3,000 meters on the assault rower to get things started. And we'll give you guys a little walk through here. Obviously, they're going to be on the rower for quite a bit of time, so we prepped a couple pieces of information for each of the athletes as they specifically relate to this style of event.
Some noise for Patrick Vellner. Give it up for Jeffrey Adler. Make some noise for Dallin Pepper. Your hands together for Elio. Keep that applause going for Ariel Lowen. And give it up for
Jeff Adler.
Brandon.
Very well known in recent time for his running capacity, and with the 3,000 meter run looming at the end, he's definitely going to be looking to, I would guess, if not increase the lead, pass some people by on that run. In his career, He has an 82% finish rate inside the top 10 of events, including run. And he has event wins on 7 different events that include runs in his high-level competition. Pat Vellner, not necessarily well known for his long-distance workouts in general, but when it comes to burpees in particular, he's managed to win 7 events that include burpees, 4 event wins on events that include running, and he has a pretty steady rate across all 3 of these when it comes to efficiency score. He's finished 63, 63, and 66% of the workouts with these 3 implements inside the top 10 in his career. I mentioned Dallin Pepper being a bit of the X factor. Last year at the CrossFit Games in the 5K, so 2023, his 5K time on the course there was 18:55, which is slow relative to the other men in the field. However, I spoke to him this year after the games, and he took his own personal 5K split time in event 1 and said that he'd improved by about 85 seconds on that. And we know that he's been working on his running a lot in the last 2 seasons with Matt Torres down in Florida, and looking forward to see where he falls amongst a field of pretty good runners. One of those extremely good runners in the field is Emily Rolfe. Emily Rolfe has managed 7 event wins to match Jeff Adler on events that include running in her CrossFit Games career, or in her CrossFit career. She also has a couple of key wins on long distance running events at the Games, the Ruck event number 3 in 2019, and the Toshiba running event number 10 in 2021. Danielle Brandon may not necessarily be well known for her monostructural when you're comparing that to her gymnastics capacities, but she actually not bad and can hold her own on some running events. In that 5K last year, she came in at 18:42, which was only 20 seconds behind Ariel Lowen and 10 seconds behind Seher Kaya. So when it comes to the run, she's definitely going to be in the mix amongst the ladies that are in the field this morning. There is Ariel Lowen coming off a career night last night on the weightlifting platform where she set not 1 but 5 different PRs en route to 200-pound snatch, a 250-pound clean and jerk, and it was a pretty special night for her. She's got to turn around and do a long one this morning. And we're looking at these 3 movements in particular. Running is the strength for her relative to the other 2. So an athlete that may be getting better as we go and progress through the movements here. Transitioning over to Team World, we have the first 3 athletes up here who are relatively little experience, and then 3 of the most experienced athletes in the field, which is the general makeup of Team World overall, that have some of the younger, less experienced athletes with some of the most veteran athletes that our sport has ever seen. Gracie Walton, first up on the left there.
Ending day 1 of competition last night.
Of these 3 movements, she also does the best on the running overall. She did have an event win, a running workout at semifinals this year out in Oceania, event number 1. I think she'll be amongst the first women off the rower. See how she manages the burpees, and then how she fares against, there weren't any athletes in the Oceania field that are of the level runners that we have here. So I'll be excited to see how she hangs against some of them. Seher Kaya is well known for her running capacity, 4 wins in running events in her career, 68% top 10 finish rate in all run events that include running in it. She's also very good when it comes to the burpee, and the row will be kind of the worst part of this for her. So expect her to get better as they go on. But just looking at the 5 other women on the field, I wouldn't be surprised if she's the last one off the row, but she probably won't be the last one back from the run. Anyola Kai, out of Spain.
And North America approaching 15.
The guy that I've actually spent some time running with and talking about his running. It's been something that he loves to do, but he's never felt like he was best at it. He's a good rower. He believes he's the second best rower amongst all these guys in the field, which is quite a claim, considering that you have the likes of Bukowski and Vellner and Dallin Pepper, who are also big boys out here. But if he's in the mix in the run, I know that he is motivated to beat at least one of the men on North America this morning.
Big goals on their end.
Morgan Carl Goodwinson, first of the final 3 athletes here that has that plethora of experience at the highest level of his sport for about a decade. BKG, as expected, is very steady across the board on all 3 of those. So these movements, while we do have athletes who excel on one or the other, maybe they're better rowers than runners, or they're really good at burpees, BKG hovers around the 50% top 10 finish rate for all 3 movements: the row, the burpee, and the run.
Approaching 1,500 meters.
The 2 most dominant athletes when it comes to monostructural movements amongst these 12 are Tia Claire Toomey and Brent Fikowski. Tia has four event wins in her career in events that include a row, which is notable because when we have pulled the data for her success rate, or top 10 finish rate of all movements over her career, rowing is in the bottom 5, and yet she's still managed to win 5 workouts that include rowing. She has 6 event wins in her career on workouts that include burpees, and 21 on running events.
Over 1,800 meters.
Pretty good in his own regard. Of course, the numbers won't stack up great when you compare him to Tia, but he has 6 wins in his career on events with rowing, 2 with burpees, and 9 with running. Combined, they've won 48 total events that include one of these 3 movements. And if they're going to take down the total here, we're going to be looking for Brent Fikowski relative to Jeff Adler, and probably TYR too relative to Emily Rolfe, as being the likely top finishers on both the male and female side of things. Checking in with the MC here, he says that Vellner's passed the 2,000 meter mark, as is Dallin Pepper. Mike Richards on the mic there, doing the rundown on the rowers, hopefully giving us some updates here. Thought about it, but I'm no surprise for him to tell me that Adler, Vellner, and Pepper are all pretty close on the rower. See if we can get back there and take a look.
60 burpees over the worm, followed by a 3,000 meter run. Business about to pick up here as the elite
2,200 meters coming up here at about the 8-minute mark. I spoke with Jeff this morning. He said he was projecting a 10.5-minute pace on the row, which is rather comfortable for them.
Just about meter for meter.
Vellner is within 5 meters, and Pepper's within about 10. So all 3 men with a very controlled pace on the row there for Team North America.
With less than 1,000 meters to go.
As Joshy G tells me that Tia is within 1,000 meters of finishing. Emily Rolfe is about 50 meters away from that 2,000 meter mark. DB just clips past 2,000 meters on her assault fitness rower, and Ariel Owen actually closer to 2,050 meters. So there's about a 50-meter spread between the 3 women on North America, and it's Ariel Owen who's closest to being done with that. Grace Walton about 2,020 meters there, so she's a little bit behind the women on North America. Zahir Kaya, 2,100 meters, so she's up there in the mix, close to maybe Emily Rolfe's pace. We expect the men to be further along, and sure enough, on Yola Akai, about 23:50.
9 minutes on the
Morgan Carl Gudmundsson almost on stroke with him, 23:90 right there.
Hands are up for Team North America.
Tia Tui passed the 2,200 meter mark.
Over that
And Brent Fikowski,
meter mark.
the most meters done, 24:50. Now that sounds like the men from North America are all ahead of the men from Team World, and those are going to be the first guys that move on to the burpees. So we're going to work our way back down to the other side of the floor and try to catch up with the North American men, who will be the first athletes to hit
There it is.
the second movement in this chipper style workout that they have this morning on the Dymatize beach stage here at Huntington Beach, California for TYR Wadapalooza SoCal 2024.
With less than 500 meters. Vellner and Pepper now, less than 300 meters remaining. Adler now.
As I get ready for the transition, we'll throw the
As we come up on
workout up there for you guys. The second movement's gonna be burpees over the worm, 60 of them total.
athletes here in the TYR Cup probably not going to need that 60.
Just past the 10-minute mark.
200 meters to go for Vellner.
Try to call out the times for you guys. We got producer for a lot of our live streams, Rodri, back in Spain. We're going to try to keep you guys as informed as possible what's going on here. But we have
And Tia,
most of the hands across the floor are up.
the first woman to get to the 500 meter or
Hand
less
goes up for
marker.
Grace Walton, Danielle Brandon, and it looks like Emily Rolfe stretches the last to have her
Also in less than 500
hand up. Maybe saving a little bit for that run. We're at the 10:35 mark. Adler said 10:30 was the expected pace on the road, so they're a little bit off of that pace.
Vellner will be the first to dismount.
Vellner's getting off the road at 10:46. Adler 10:48. First two guys to move on to the burpees. Pepper at 10:52. So 6-second spread for the three men on North America.
In the lead here, day number 2.
We'll keep it wide like this and try to get you guys the split times for everyone else as they dismount their rowers. I'm expecting Fikowski on the far side of the floor to be the next one off if everyone is holding paces relative to what we saw when we walked past. But the men from North America making a statement. There goes Fikowski, 11:16 on the clock that I see when he got off the rower. Jorgman 11:23, Anjola 11:24. So about a 90-second gap total, 30 seconds or so per each of the male athletes. None of the women are off yet, so all 6 of the males, as expected, they had to row the same distance, getting off early with a range of about 10:46 to 11:24 from the fastest, which was Vellner, to the slowest, which was Anjola Kai by 1 second after BKG. All hands are up for the women. None of them off the rower yet. We're approaching the 12-minute mark. The men are working their way through 60
as our athletes
burpees over the row.
Burpees over the worm. 60 is a big number.
One's up for most of the women on the rower over there. And we'll keep it wide over here as we try to get you guys a view.
Your eye on your favorite athlete's
and we'll call out the times as they get off the rower. And up for Vellner and now Pepper. So they're done with 25 burpees. Ariel Lowen and Tia Klertui at the 12:20 mark. Just like they were last night, within 5 pounds of each other on the total. Get off this time. Sahir Kaya, third off the row, 12:28. Gracie Walton, 12:30. DB, 12:32. And Emily Rolfe, we saw was in the back early, is going to be the last one on the rower here. Ultimately, I'm not too concerned knowing how good she is at running, but when you look at this workout in general, Emily Rolfe's going to get off at 12:48, and the men are moving down there for North America.
Each section 30.
When you think about this workout and from a strategic standpoint, you almost are going to have some individual matchups going on. What's your best male compared to their best male, best female to best female? And if you are Team World and you know that Tia's in this workout, you need Emily Rolfe to stay relatively close to her. And she gave away a lot of ground on the row. The men continue to lead the way here. North American men, the top 3 in the heat. Vellner, Pepper, and then Adler all separated by a couple reps. It was Fikowski, Anjola Kai, and then BKG in that order making their way to the second worm, as all 6 women are hanging out back there. I think when it comes to the run, because they're going to do an out and back run, we'll call out the split times as the athletes leave the burpee station, and then we're going to head on the run with probably the last female, and then we'll pick up the top males as they're coming back. It's a down and back course out under Huntington Beach Pier. So that'll be our plan in terms of covering the run, since it's obviously not possible to go with all 12 of the athletes at the same time. So we'll stay here on the beach stage, call out the split times as they are leaving the venue, and heading out on what's ultimately the final part of this chipper, the 3,000-meter run on the beach. Here come the women. Tia Klertui and Ariel Lowen got to the first set of burpees at the same time. They leave them at the same time. It's about 14:15 on the clock. Hand up for Vellner, and now Adler, and now Pepper. So we're going to have our first athletes heading out on the run, as some of the women, most of the women are making their way to the second worm. We have Lowen and now DB, and all 3 women for the world with Kaya and Gracie Walton about lockstep with each other. Vellner at 14:40 takes off on the run. Adler 14:42 will head off on the run, and Dallin Pepper 14:47. So those 3 men through the row, 3,000 meters on the burpees, 60 of them are within 7 seconds of each other. And that's a pretty impressive split for all 3 of those guys. Now, we can expect that Adler will do something on the run. Fikowski, 15:01, he's going to have a little ground to make up. And for his team, he's going to really be hoping to chase down both Pepper and Vellner, who on paper he should be a better runner than. And then hopefully basically just maintain pace with Adler. However, Anjola Kai, 15:16, heads off. So he's about 14 seconds behind Fikowski, and maybe 150 meters behind the men from North America. BKG at 15:23 is out. So all 6 men, the first 3 from North America, and then the next 3 from Team World, have made their way out towards the water and headed left down underneath the pier. We'll make our way out there as well. We'll go with the final female athlete and give you guys as much of a view of the running course by the ocean as we can, and hope that the live stream holds up over there. We're at the 15:50 mark, and there's a hand up for Tia Klertui. Now, her and Ariel Lowen have been rep for rep up to this point. No hand up for her judge, but maybe it's just a matter of forgetting to do that. Now it is up. So Tia's opened up about a 4 or 5 rep lead, and at the 16:05 mark, Tia Claire Toomey will be the first woman out on the run. And if she can make up a minute over Anyola Kai and BKG here on the run, that would be pretty impressive. Tia out on the run, and one last burpee, Ariel Lowen, 16:20. So she'll have about a 20-second deficit relative to Tia as they start the final part of this chipper. 4 more women on the floor. 3 of them have a hand up. And Emily Rolfe still in the back of the pack. Gracie Walton, 16:33. She'll head out, so she got through her burpees a little bit faster than Sayar Kaya. Danielle Brandon can say the same. She goes out at 16:40. So Kaya coming out a little bit more aggressive than I expected on the row and gave away some ground, but at 16:45, she'll head out on the run, and she'll absolutely have DB in her sights and possibly Ariel Lowen as well. Now, Emily Rolfe only has 4 burpees to go, and with 3,000 meters of running on mostly flat ground, it's not out of the realm of possibility for her to catch up with some of the women from Team World, and she's probably going to need to do that. Tia will be long gone, but if she can reel in Gracie Walton and Sayar Kaya, that'll go a long way. So at 17:10, Emily Rolfe, the last athlete to leave the Dymatize stage here and head out on a 3,000 meter run, and we're going to do our best to stay with her. We'll get a little jog in as well. This course should have some soft sand for the first 100 or 150 meters, and then it should level out. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Kev. I got a little workout in this morning too, so you guys can see how close the athletes in all divisions here at TYR Wadapalooza SoCal get to compete to the Pacific Ocean. A little windy this morning, but mostly just cool and a really, really comfortable temperature for a 3,000 meter run. All right, this is where we're gonna flatten it out, and let's see how the internet holds up. But obviously I'll be running and try to stay up with Emily a little bit if I can, and at some point we'll pick up with the guys and kind of head back in. And the water is right here. It's pretty cool. Not sure if you can see in the distance. It looks like Emily's got about a couple 100 meters deficit there. Should we run faster? Some of that media team that I told you guys about made their way out here to cover the action this weekend, hanging out underneath the pier. Now, the men are going to be fast coming back. So, as I'm thinking about it, I'll need to be able to run with them. So I don't think I'm going to go too much further. But this is an open course. We see open courses at the games sometimes. I'm not sure if any of the coaches or any pacers are out here. And then, of course, there could also just be local people running on the beach for exercise. See some red shirt medical, water almost got me. Red shirt medical teams out here. Lining the course. Good to see. And of course, Surf City USA and a plethora of surfers out here. Enjoying a cloudy morning on the beach of Southern California. Kind of keeping my eyes on the horizon. What's up, Julian?
You live?
Yeah, we're on the live stream.
Wear the wrong shoes, you know? That's some reds.
Well, keep our eyes on the...
Live stream. Just let you guys know.
Hold on.
Ask Brian in the comments why he's not keeping up with the athletes, bro. You're an athlete. You're supposed to be...
The reason why is because Adler's going to be coming back, and I need to save a little energy to keep up with him. Thinking ahead. We will keep our eyes on the horizon to see when the men from North America are starting to come back. And I will do my best to run with him. I'm expecting it to be Jeff on the way in. That'll probably leave me out of breath, but, you know, spoke with the guys from Loud and Live yesterday. Wanted to try to do what we could to bring you guys as much coverage this weekend as possible. So make and do. Obviously, these offsite events, I often advise people running competitions on offsite events not to worry about having a full production broad stream broadcast because it's extremely demanding from a resource perspective, internet perspective, cables, wiring, manpower, etc. But to do one off camera POV shot and a little commentary to go with it, something they were excited about, so happy to be able to provide that for you guys this morning. I think you guys have a time probably on your screen there. I can't see that, but it is 10:51 on my watch, and the athletes started at the 10:30 mark. They started on time. Adler told me this morning that depending on the consistency of the sand, he could finish this between 27 and 30 minutes. So if the sand is relatively flat and he can run at an optimal pace, he believes that that's 27 minutes, which means it's about 5-6 minutes from now. And if it's a little bit softer and slows him down a little bit, potentially 7 to 8 minutes from now is when he would be finishing. We'll have about a 500-meter run from where I'm standing to get back to the venue. And we'll try our best to do that with him. Still don't see them heading back this direction yet. Quite a few people are just hanging out on the beach, and I mean, you guys can still see out there on the right that there's just a ton of surfers enjoying the morning here on a Saturday. Some of the medical team walking the beach there, looking like I am for the first runners that are coming back. I mean, my guess is it'll be 1 or 2 minutes until we see them. And then we put my fitness to the test, which is not something any of you guys came here for, but see what happens. If you guys are just recently joining, oh wow, I just got soaked. If you're just recently joining, oh, that's gonna suck. Sorry. This is what the athletes are doing. 3,000, 60, 3,000. And they finished the row, they finished the burpees, and all three men from North America took off at about the same time. They've been running down the beach here in SoCal. No, they had a turnaround point and come back and then race back into the Dymatize beach stage arena for a finish. The score or the flow for this workout is the cumulative time of all 6 athletes on their team, male and female. There's only 1 point up for grabs. And this is, you know, one of the things about competitive CrossFit. Last night, we had 4 athletes lift for a cumulative total. And obviously lifts don't take very long to do. So it's a relatively short amount of working time, get 1 point. This morning, with 6 athletes, probably taking on average 33 or 35 minutes to finish this, you're gonna have scores that are gonna be basically 3 hours cumulatively, and that will also yield 1 point for one of these teams, and the other one will do that 3 hours of work and walk away with nothing. These are the 6 athletes for each team that are out on the run, and it was all 6 men getting through the rowing and the burpees first as expected. It was Vellner, Adler, and Pepper within a few seconds of each other for North America. Bukowski leading the way for the Team World Men, followed by Anyola Kai and BKG. Gia Claire was the first female athlete to enter the run, followed by Ariel Lowen. And then it was relatively close. Grace Walton, Danielle Brandon, Sahar Kaya all leaving around the same time. And Emily Rolfe, who on paper is the second best runner in this group of women, was the last one to head out down the beach and on their run. And I still don't see anyone coming back this way. I do see Julian Marquez running further and further down the beach. Looking at the clock, we got 10:54, so they've been working for 24 minutes. And I would think that it'd be pretty close now to at least the time when we see Jeff Adler turning around. What I'll be curious is how much of a gap he chose to put between him, Vellner, and Pepper. A lot of times on team running workouts, and I do see him coming our way now. Let's see how much we can zoom in and try to pick him up over there. On team running workouts, so that card's going to be leading the way with him. Well, I should probably hop on that card, honestly. You know, sometimes the teams have to run together. Sometimes they choose to run together to help out the weaker link, but in this case where it's total time, I think that Adler going for it, getting as much of an advantage for his team as possible is going to be the strategy. And we'll try to run into the arena with him as best as I can. So it is going to be Jeff Adler as expected. I think that's Vellner in the distance behind him. And wow, I just got soaked again. That's going to make the running very difficult. Can you pick me up? Can I get in? Go, go, go. Jeff Adler here. And we'll start our run and see if we can keep up with Jeff as we head back into the venue.
Tyler and Danny will advance to the semis.
Ooh, it's a surfing competition going on, actually. They are announcing some of the results there. Adler asking for directions there. Sand's getting thick.
Let's go, Brian!
Over the first one. Adler over the second.
And Jeff Adler, 28:37, right in the middle of the times he expected. And you want to know how good these guys are. He told me 27 to 30, split the difference, 28 and a half. And how about this? Pat Vellner talking a lot of trash this weekend, backing it up. He's going to be the second one in. And I think on paper, everyone was expecting it to be Brent Fikowski, second in. But at 29-13, unofficial, Pat Vellner opening up even a bigger lead. And Anyola Kai has made up some ground. But Dallin Pepper turning up the heat. So it's going to be Pepper, the top three finishers, the top three men from North America. Dallin Pepper, 29-37. Anyola Kai, 29-39. And the rookie, the Spaniard, showing some class here, beating the rest of his team, keeping them as close as possible. Now, this is not over. The men from North America did the job. We're still waiting for Björgvin and Brent. But the women for the world can do something similar if they're able to get back in the top three positions. And Tia, as we speak, is hot on Brent Fikowski's heels. So Fikowski looking to be the fifth person across the line, the second for his team. Tia is right behind him. Fikowski and Tia, of course, having some history on events, long distance nature with men and women starting at the same time. But Brent Fikowski, 30-30, he'll get across the line. Tia Claire Toomey, add another win in the column relative to her division. Tia Claire Toomey, 30-41. And she did manage to get ahead of BKG, who's still putting up a solid score for his team here. Jorgen Carl Gudmundsson
Workers looking at finish line.
One little hurdle to go.
For Team World, 2 now for the gentlemen.
And he's in 31 even. Before Bjorgen got across, it was a 3-minute and 23-second advantage for Team North America. Rodri's helping me out from Spain, and we'll try to keep us updated as we go. So all 6 men are in. TYR Toomey's in. 31:20 has passed on the clock here at the beach stage. 5 women that we're waiting to see. And when you're thinking about the weekend as a whole, keep in mind that MVP award, Pat Vellner, I think exceeding expectation a bit there. And this is what Team North America was counting on. And Team World is not going to be that happy to see Emily Rolfe make up some serious ground against the other women on this run. And it's all 3 women from Team North America looking to lock in a point on event 4 this morning. And this is gonna do it. Rolfe, Brandon, Lowen will get across the line in that order. Their times will be 32:11, 12, 13. And North America is gonna take the points ahead. She'll get in 32:20. I leave one out on the run. It's Grace Walton, and wow, Aniola Kai is jogging out on the course looking for her and is going to try to bring her in across the finish line. We will try to do the same. But as far as the point is concerned, here she comes. This was North America. The men got the job done and the women did the same. Only TYR Toomey was able to beat any of the same gender athletes on North America's team. Grace Walton will be the final athlete across the finish line. We're just past the 33-minute mark, so 45-minute time cap not needed in the least. Grace Walton will get across at 33:10.
And let's give it up.
And I'm gonna see if I can catch up with one of them real quick.
America.
Here, I think that most people would have expected a Canadian man to come across the line second, but they would have picked a taller one. For me, that was one of the better long distance workouts I've seen in a while. How do you feel?
It was good. We had a plan to do it, like, all together. Honestly, we thought maybe, Dallin could get by on a little less effort on the row relative to Jeff and I, and we all struggled a bit holding pace on the assault rowers relative to what we're used to. But it's nice to have a team, right? Like, even our women came across all together, and when you've got that elastic, it's nice. So that first section, we just tried to stay close. I knew, I might come out ahead on burpees, but Jeff would take over on the run. And then I was able to try to keep him close for the first half. And the plan was, like, Jeff, when you make the turn, you can see the field. If you see a lot of pink and not a lot of blue, you got a wheel. Like, we need to bank time. And so he had that advantage, and we kind of had that ace in the hole. And I think, Dallin overperformed on the run relative to what we've seen in the past, which was huge. It's nice when somebody says, hey, I've been working on my running, and they are lying.
Like they have, yeah.
So, and I mean, it just it shows in competition. It's nice. So I think when we all came across 1, 2, 3, that was awesome, and we thought we might see Rolfe behind in short order. But when we turned, she was last off the burpees. We didn't see that, obviously, but on the run back, we saw she was in one of the last places. So, I mean, testament to her pushing the run and closing that gap, and that's what won the workout. We kind of did what we thought we could do and did our job, and we had to rely on the women to execute. And, I mean, huge last half push for Rolfe, and I think the 3 of them being able to run together and pull each other compared to, I think, when we passed them, Kaya and Walton were running together, and then I think Kaya dropped Gracie, and when you lose that elastic and that help, it can slow you up significantly. So I think, some of the mind games might have played in the back half of that race. When you end up by yourself on an island, it gets a lot harder.
Yeah. Wow, great. Thanks for walking us through that. Great performance this morning.
Yeah, it's a good big point for us. We needed one of those to start the day and keep the sweep alive.
Momentum back on your side.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool. Thanks, man. All right, Team North America taking care of business this morning in event 4. We're going to shut it down here on the Dymatize beach stage. Full production broadcast will be back tonight around 6 p.m. local time in California. We'll have the pre-show with Peter White. With guests, we'll have the reps ahead showcase. 2 male matches tonight, culminating in a featured match between James Sprague and Jay Hopper. All setting the stage for the Tier Cup to continue on the Tier Pier stage Saturday night under the lights. We'll see you guys then.
Bracing the harsh conditions of the Southern California weather,